What's good? It's your boy, Mixtape Moth, and today I'm going to do a review of the new Dave East album entitled Karma 3. Let's get to it. Dave East is a Harlem rapper slash actor. You may have seen him play Method Man in the Wu-Tang series on Hulu, which is actually really dope. And Dave does an excellent job in his portrayal of Method Man. But Dave is back with his first full-length project since 2019's Survival, and thankfully, this album is an improvement from that release. I just think Karma 3 feels like a more focused body of work. I like the production better. I think he sounds a little more relaxed, and things just feel less disjointed this time around. There's a ton of wordplay throughout as Dave East is really rapping his ass off, although there were some cliche rhymes here and there like, my teeth straight, I don't rock veneers, and when I'm in Cleveland, I feel like LeBron. Aside from those lazy references, Dave is mostly on point lyrically throughout this tape. Plus, I can appreciate how he frequently mentions his family in his rhymes, whether it's his dad, mom, aunt, or cousin. They are all talked about in his music. And I can relate to this personally as I am very close with my family as well. I think this makes Dave's story more relatable as an artist because he is talking about family struggles and situations that many can relate to or at least empathize with. So let's talk about the production. I didn't have a problem with any of these beats, to be honest. Some were obviously stronger than others, but I didn't think the production was stale like some of the spots that were on Survival. I wasn't familiar with all the producers on here, but some of the recognizable ones were A-Rab Music, V Dawn, Jake One, and DJ Paul of 3-6 Mafia fame. Two things I wanted to note before I give y'all my track-by-track breakdown. Number one, moving forward, I think it would benefit Dave to lock in with one producer, like let's say a Buck Wild or Pete Rock, for a whole album, because as much as I like the beats on this thing, it's really hard to define what Dave East's sound is exactly. Which brings me to number two, and that is Dave East really has a knack for appealing to many different groups of listeners. It's almost incredible how he was able to effectively appeal to so many diverse audiences on this tape. But at the same time, I think this exact strategy spreads him too thin as an artist. All those things considered, it would be interesting to see how Dave would sound with one producer, specifically one from New York. But those are just my opinions on this, and I'm sure many of you may have a similar view. But with that being said, let me go ahead and give y'all this track-by-track breakdown. Dave East kicks this off with the track Handsome. I like the bouncy and melodic production. This instrumental kind of reminds me of J. Cole's The Neighbors beat. Dave basically talks about coming from the bottom to finally getting some rap money. Now everyone wants to call him handsome. A couple lines that stood out to me were, my crew was too live, I was not with Luke, and Carolina Whip, Powder Blue. I know those were kind of simple, but they just sounded fly over this smooth and wavy production, so track one was a good opener. On Unruly, Dave naps Pop Can for the hook. This feels like it could be a summer anthem in New York. Dave is sliding on both verses. He sounds confident and relaxed, but also like he was having some fun on this one as he was showing some love to his West Indian roots. Track 3, entitled The City, is also a highlight with strong New York City vibes. Obviously, most will recognize the sample that Jay-Z used for his classic Heart of the City, and I think Trey Songz really does the Heart of the City hook some justice. This is another song with that New York City energy. I like how Dave is painting a picture of the struggle of city life. His whole second verse was pretty dope, especially you wasn't in them cold December nights in the snow with me. We disrespect the ops openly, then go fuck they sister to Jodeci. So this was another really strong track that had him 3 for 3 off the rip. Then we get East collaborating with Atlanta rapper Trouble for the track Get the Money. This has a very smooth, warm, and soulful instrumental. It's another one of Dave's rags to riches narratives where he emerges from the struggle but still manages to stay down. I gotta admit, it was refreshing to hear Trouble shouting out Queens and Harlem on the hook, considering that he is from Atlanta. Not like there was any beef or anything, but I like the ATL to New York City unity that is being displayed displayed here. The vibes were great on this song, so I enjoyed it as well. This is followed up by Thank God featuring A Boogie. I gotta say, I love the twinkling piano production here. It gives this song that distinctive Harlem uptown flavor. On here, Dave is praising God for allowing him to survive the trenches. A Boogie sounds decent on the hook. I'm not a huge fan, but he didn't mess this up, that's for sure. So the first 5 songs I thought were really dope. What comes next is the track featuring Doughboy entitled Said What I Said. Now this song is obviously geared more for the trappers, the dope boys, and just a younger audience in general. I like the beat, but it's probably one of my least favorite records in terms of the lyrical content. It's just an average song, but it's still better than the worst song off Survival, if that makes sense. The track Broke or Not finds Dave East giving out some games to the youngsters out there, encouraging them to keep several side hustles. This has another soulful type of instrumental. I wasn't crazy about it, but at the same time, I wouldn't skip it if it came on. What follows is the song Mission. It's more of an up-tempo and bass-heavy track that you could ride out to. It almost sounds like a DJ Mustard beat. I really like the vibes on this one as it gives off that strong Cali energy. I could see Mozzie or the late great Nipsey Hussle sounding really good over this beat. This actually has Ty Dolla $ign singing alongside Jazzy. It's something smooth that you could play when you were getting to the money or just when you were in your bag. Up next is the track Menace, which has another melodic and bouncy instrumental. It kind of reminds me of the production on the opening track, Handsome. There really wasn't anything crazy lyrically about this one, but I liked the vibes and the beat. He really sounded like he was having some fun on this joint. Then Dave East takes us to Memphis for the DJ Paul produced Fuck Dat. To be honest, I wasn't expecting Dave to link with DJ Paul and attempt this 3-6 Mafia style record, but it was a pleasant surprise. I think this slaps. It's a banger through and through. I like how Dave East actually connected with DJ Paul instead of getting someone else to produce a makeshift 3-6 Mafia beat. This also features Dolph, who brought that authentic Memphis trap sound to this record. This was a good look that added some extra flavor to the pot. Dave goes to the West Coast to team up with Bino Rideau for the track Blue Story. Now, please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing his name. Dave and Bino have worked before on Nipsey's Slauson Boy 2. So on here, Dave East talks about Nipsey and his legacy. It's pretty heartfelt, as we all know that Dave East and Nipsey were very close. I like the guitar strumming instrumental. It's somber, but also wavy at the same time. I wasn't mad at this track at all. What follows is easily the hardest song on the tape, Stone Killer featuring Mr. The Butcher's Coming. I dug the cinematic instrumental, which gave me some old Cameron and Lox vibes. It just feels like a mixtape anthem featuring 2 New York heavyweights. This is that come through and crush the buildings kind of music. This is a 3-verse song, and what makes it even better is that both Dave and Benny are rapping in a back and forth like a duo on the 3rd verse. Benny states, "Fiends fighting over the boy, Brandy and Monica. Gangster, you know how I'm cut. Honestly, you should honor us." Then Dave follows with, "I remember bagging up Hayes. Jacket was Nautica. I couldn't stay out late. On my ankle, I had a monitor." So dope. Plus, I'm a fan of the scratching at the end. The track Envy finds Dave East taking a stroll down memory lane over an atmospheric beat. I could see Styles P rapping over this sort of production, to be honest. This track also had 3 verses. Dave East states, "I got the juice walking through, same boots as Bishop. Cellophane baggies, yellow brick, meet the wizard. Remember, to be Wu-Tang, you need a RZA." Another line that stood out to me was, "You knew my life, you would have been shell-shocked. This is just training day, no Denzel wash." So you had some really dope wordplay on this. What follows is the Mary J. Blige assisted Know How I Feel. Look, to keep it a buck, all great rappers need to have a track with Mary J. Blige from Nas, Jay, Method Man, Ghost, Jada. Of course, there's others, but this is like a prerequisite if you wanted to be considered a great New York rapper. So yeah, I like this smooth elegant and sophisticated vibes on this record. It's a classy addition to the track list for sure. Dave East closes out this album with Believe It or Not. I could totally see Nas rapping alongside him on this one. That would have been a great feature. It was a good way to end the project, as I liked the beat and Dave's lyrics were on point. He states, Breakfast Club interviews about how I made it out. I really hated housing and with whatever. I could relate to violence. See dudes lose their life and I gave no reaction. I was really bagging up listening to Tony Braxton. Just really paints an ill picture. Overall, I give this project a rating of 4 out of 5. I think Dave East really delivered on this album. Aside from having a few generic and lazy rhymes here and there, I thought he was rapping quite well. In terms of the production and the overall package, I think this is one of his best projects sonically. I'm not talking creatively though, as he had some more creative moments on Survival and Kyrie Chanel in terms of the storytelling and concept records, but I'm talking about the overall production here and the vibes. It was just better. He seemed to cover all bases as far as having songs that could appeal to different geographic regions, and this makes sense considering who Dave is as an artist, especially since he's cool with so many people. He clearly has strong ties to the West Coast, and it was evident stylistically on a couple of these records. At the end of the day, I understand that Dave East might not be everyone's cup of tea in terms of his flow, and I can get that. I see the hate all the time on Twitter, but in my opinion, if you really thought this album was whack, then my guess is that you didn't take time to listen to it at all, or else you just were hell-bent on hating because it's the popular thing to do on social media and you just wanted to get a couple laughs. My favorite tracks include The City, Thank God, Mission, Menace, Fuck That, Stone Killer, Know How I Feel, and Believe It or Not. Let me know what you thought of this album in the comment section below. What should I check out next? It's your boy, Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. Dave East, Karma 3, 1.